Welcome here to McChats here on McGTV, youtube.com/MikeMcGTV. Follow me on Twitter at MikeMcGTV. Kind of going with the flow of branching out beyond geeky and nerdy stuff. I want to bring on a couple of different voices from different walks of life, and one of these voices is one that I actually tuned into quite a bit on the now dying platform Vine, but I wholeheartedly recommend you check out a bunch of his material. It's Mr. Mercer Morrison joining me here on McChats.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, it's been going great, and thank you once more again for doing this. I know I said that earlier, but it's a...
No, not a problem. I like how you said I'm branching out beyond the geeky and nerdy stuff, and you're talking to one of the geekiest and nerdy guys out there.
What do you do then on your YouTube channel, I guess, or other platforms?
I mean, well, right now you were kind of mentioning it. I feel like it is sort of a weird scramble across social media. I'm more on Instagram and things like that, like trying to create more shorter viral content right now. I mean, my first love is stand-up comedy, and that's the main thing I'm focusing on. So for the people that are listening, if you go to my YouTube channel, you'll notice that there's not too many videos. It's kind of hard to do a day job, then comedy, then YouTube and Instagram. So I just put up videos when I can. So you really see kind of sporadic appearances, but any and all views are appreciated from this,
I've checked out a lot of your material, not just on the Vine platform, which we'll get to eventually, but especially on when I discovered you had a YouTube channel, I wanted to check out more because I'm like, for 6-second videos, this guy is really funny and really cuts to the quip. So let's see what he does with a longer video format. And I gotta say, a lot of it I really enjoy. I recommend like the little rants and reviews / roasts you do of certain shows or movies.
Well, thank you. Definitely. I'm still trying. I mean, you're kind of branching out on what kind of channel that you want to be. I really used to think that I had like a singular focus, and then one day I just realized, let's just do whatever with our channel. Let's, do a video about wrestling, and then let's do a video about the latest movie out there, and then let's do a video about TV shows. Just whatever I was passionate in talking about. I feel like that's really the best way to go if you want to do a YouTube channel.
You find it's kind of difficult to constantly always be like, okay, what's trending now, or what will garner a lot of eyes onto the platform?
Yeah, I mean, right now I wanted to do a mannequin challenge video, but then I remembered that I have no friends, so that was kind of difficult to do. No, I'm kidding, but. Yeah, it was just, it is kind of difficult because you think that you have a few days to do something, and then, after those few days, that trend dies. Like, I kind of felt sorry for people that were, kind of obsessed with the whole Ken Bone thing that was going on, because literally in about like 3 days, it died, and I just felt bad for anyone that was, planning on making a video that weekend or whatever, and for trends and stuff like that. Like, I guess I don't know when we'll get to the whole Vine thing, but whenever it was announced that Vine was ending, like literally within the hour of the announcement, I saw all these reaction videos. There was a big Viner named Thomas Sanders who already put up a video kind of speaking on that. And I'm like, these guys just, they must just have like no day job, no nothing, that they can literally just kind of lay around and then throw up a video whenever they please. So like I said before, it's kind of hard to do trending videos and things like that whenever you kind of have a lot of adult responsibilities.
Right, when the real world sets in. Yeah, it's always kind of a challenge. Like you said, with regards to within a day or so, like I did see a couple of Ken Bone costumes at Halloween, and I do kind of have this feeling of, in a year, people are going to see people tagged in those photos, and they can be like, what was that costume again? Oh, yeah.
That's seriously what it's going to be. Like, no, even after a month, people are going to be like, is that guy just a fat Mr. Rogers? Like, what was he trying to be in that photo? Like that. Seriously, I remember that people were like, oh, I'm going to dress as Ken Bone. And then before Halloween even got there, people were already over it. And then I just felt bad for the people that had already picked it out, because they just went to Halloween. They're just like, hey, my costume. And everyone was like, oh yeah, thanks for... It was already like a reminder. It wasn't like a current news topic anymore.
And especially those who went as either Donald Trump or Hillary. Now it's kind of like, well, crap.
Hey, they can still have those Trump masks, you know.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like farmers are going to be using Trump and Hillary masks to scare away the crows for a while. So I feel like that's a good thing for them to use. But actually, that was the number one selling item. Everyone thought it was going to be like Ken Bone or some other thing, but the number one, the two biggest Halloween items were Hillary and Donald Trump masks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little useless trivia for everyone for the year 2016. The strangest year on record.
Hey, the way things are going, it's like I could fill my head with some useless trivia at this point, just to entertain.
Oh yeah, it really is. And like when someone told me the other day, they're like, "Yeah, like that'll happen." I'm like, with the way the 2016's going, anything can happen. Really, it's insane. Some of the stuff that has happened, like Cubs win the World Series, Donald Trump's in the White House, and I need to look at the rest of the Back to the Future trilogy to see what else they predicted. So
this is all in a sports almanac somewhere.
It is, yeah. It's all even, yeah. It even said, you know, because that was written by Donald Trump, and you guys need to go back and look at the film. But yeah, you know, I mean, like you were talking about Vine, and I was on Vine for a bit, and I think you were for a bit, and now it's just every time I open it, I just hear the wind rushing and tumbleweeds rolling by.
Yeah, here's the thing with Vine is that it's where I first kind of really got connected with a couple of people, but also I was really intrigued by the idea of, okay, 6 seconds to get a point across, whether it's a joke or whether it is a actual pertinent message, or whether you feel like stealing jokes, which a lot of your top Viners do. But
if you feel like stealing jokes because you have no original thoughts or content, then yeah, go right ahead.
But I wasn't looking for like, oh, I can definitely see myself making a living doing this. It was more like, no, this is kind of fascinating actually. But then, like you said, it when you have real life responsibilities, it's so hard to keep up with that. There was a while, like, groups like I can't remember. There were a couple of like groups that I think were joined with that did those hashtag challenges that were actually pretty fun at times. But got to the point where it really wasn't fun anymore, and every once in a while I would check in and see like, oh, okay, someone's just revining Will Sasso again, or someone's just revining, why is there a Distorm Power Vine in here? I haven't heard from that guy in forever.
Oh, God. And then also the thing, it was like the sexy hip Tuesdays, or that, like, it seemed like that one hashtag just kept popping up. And by the way, if you glanced at it, it just looked like shit Tuesdays. I don't know if you can cuss on this, but...
Oh, yeah, you can.
It always just looked like, every single time, it seemed like that whenever I was beginning to, like, not get on Vine, I would only get on Tuesdays for some reason, and I would only see those sexy hip Vine. And first off, no one on there that was dancing was sexy. I feel like it was meant ironically.
Yeah, that's the way I embraced it. I did it once or twice, I'm not gonna lie, but I did it with the irony in place. Like, I did it while dancing to Tarzan Boy. I mean, that's pretty ironic, I'd say.
You can't go wrong with Baltimora, so I'll give you points. I'll give you points for that one-hit wonder gem right there.
Yeah.
Whenever I think of that song, I think of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles dancing.
Oh, yeah. That's right. The third one, right? That was the third
That
movie.
was the turtle. Was it called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, or was there like a semicolon or a colon, like Turtles in Time? I can't remember. I can't remember if that was called Turtles in Time or if that was a video game.
Well,
I'm trying.
And here we go. I'm slipping back into my geek and nerd because Turtles is what I know.
None of that, or I'm going to fucking give you a swirly, all right? None of that.
I will just say there were times when people referred to it as Turtles in Time. And there is a Turtles in Time video game. And out of the two products, the video game's the better one.
All right, yeah. But anyway, like whenever I would get back on there, like it was almost always on Sexy Hip Tuesday or whatever. And the thing was that when I first joined Vine, I think it was like everyone, I was just interested. And this is what kind of pisses me off about the Vine ending, is that all of the pop Viners are now like, I don't know if anyone, this is going to be news to some people listening, but a lot of the pop Viners actually pretty much tried to hold Vine up for like they asked for $1 million each. Did you read that?
Yes, I did read it. Like, they had a secret conference in their Hollywood and Vine apartments saying like, here's what we're willing to do, or here's what we're willing to accept as payment for producing 6-second content on like a monthly basis. Even
it was just so bad. And then whenever you would go on their little things, it was only promoting their YouTube channels, and a lot of those people, to be honest, I totally forgot about, because I'd been off Vine, and especially not checking any of the pop Viners for a good year.
Yeah.
Before I saw that article, and like over half of the people, I was like, oh wow, I completely forgot about them. So I think they're more in dire need of money than Vine was at the time.
Yeah, that's what kind of struck me odd about that read was, honestly, the platform really doesn't need you. It's a shame that Twitter's letting it go by the wayside, but you guys aren't really the saviors of it necessarily.
No. Yeah, the reason that I joined was because of what it was, which was like a 6-second app that you could, you could kind of self-edit and make funny videos and stuff. I didn't join because of D-Storm Power, like you mentioned earlier, or Curtis Lepore, or anyone like that. I didn't even know about those guys until I got on the app, and I'm sure no one else did either. And plus, I remember that, like, I actually watched D-Storm's little Vine tirade that he did, and he by the way, he failed to mention the whole $1 million thing.
Right.
But what he said was like they all tried to save Vine and everything like that, and he was just complaining the fact that like the 3 years that Vine had been around, they couldn't pay him. And I just wanted to say, like, it took YouTube 6 years to finally start monetizing people. I don't know if you knew that, but it wasn't until Google bought YouTube that they finally started monetization. So
times are tough all over, buddy. Get with it.
But I mean, good luck to him. Good luck to all of them. But really, to hold a failing app up for $1 million, I mean, I don't know where they thought that it was going to go, like trying to hold it up for $1 million each. But
maybe real life set in for them too. Like a good 50% of those pop Viners probably graduated high school,
or middle school, like Brent Rivera or whatever his face is.
He still on there? Or
what now?
Is he still on there or something? I haven't heard about that kid in forever.
The thing was that I looked him up, and I don't think he still hasn't hit a growth spurt. I really don't think. Like, he still just looks the exact same, like I'm an 8th grader guy trying to look like I'm 20, but it's not going well. Like, that's his whole look. But let's see, who else? Yeah, I looked up a bunch of those people, and they're kind of just still a little bit stale. I don't think any of them moved on to like really prominent careers.
Well, some of them tried, and it was hilarious when it kind of backfired. Like, it was a couple years ago, Brittany Furlan was on the red carpet for the Soapies or whatever.
Oh God!
And her and another co-host like basically said they would want to rape one of the male stars of All My Children or something like that.
Oh, she just fell flat on her face. Someone compared her to God, what's her face on It's Always Sunny, like Brie Olson's character. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. That she's pretty much like her. Like that's pretty spot on, because there was a scene where she tried to do like cringy, pretty much a racist stereotype of this Puerto Rican lady, and I was like, that's definitely something Brittany Furlan would do, because she also did like overly racist vines and things like that, and yeah, the same with and one of the other people that was like totally mad about Vine was Jerry Perpdrank, who was saying like, oh man, like he got on Twitter or like I read the article, he got on Twitter, it was like, man, we tried to save Vine, and it's like, yeah, but you failed to mention the whole $1 million thing. They need to all come clean, just so I don't know, it's just all a mess. But I definitely remember that Brittany Furlan thing. I think that was the thing that would try to break her into the mainstream, and then she just kind of fell flat on her face because she was trying to be this sort of pseudo edgy Chelsea Handler character.
I don't know what your opinion is on Chelsea Handler, but
I don't like her either, but I mean, at least she has a fan base, which is more than I can say for Brittany.
I'm trying to think of Logan Paul, and he had a modicum of some mainstream stuff. I know he showed up in Law and Order or something, right? If you can call that breaking through.
What was he doing?
I don't know. Maybe it wasn't him. Maybe it was just a really pasty looking kid who looked just like him. But Do you follow H3H3 at all?
Yeah, I do a little bit, yeah.
Oh, they did a kind of a review of this Law & Order episode that was mirroring Gamergate stuff, and he basically was playing this almost... like, these gamers are, like, on anonymous level of militarization. It was kind of funny to see him.
Yeah, we're the next storm front. Look out. Yeah.
Exactly.
I hate how the media just blows everything out of proportion, including this election. Yeah, that's one of my favorite... It's one of my favorite things to do is just continue to watch the meltdown. I really do. I just kind of, like, tune in and just kind of watch it all crumble.
Is there anything from it that gives you a sense of joy? Any good memeable things that did come out of this election or this current event?
The biggest meme is Donald Trump. I mean, can we say that?
Yeah, sure. Whatever you think.
He's the biggest. He is a walking meme. Like we voted a meme into the White House. I don't know if people realize that. I mean, like, we had the first woman running for president, and then about to be president, and then we also had the first meme. Like that's just insane to me that we elected this guy. But the thing that I love is just kind of watching, because I live in New York, and are you in New Jersey?
I'm in New Jersey now. I used to live in New York about 4 years ago, but yeah.
Yeah, so what was sort of the climate whenever the election was going on? Like, who'd you think would win?
Well, I mean, Jersey obviously went blue, and I don't know how much of that was mainly due to the fact that we're like, you got Christie saddled up to your racehorse. He's going to actively eat that sucker. We're kind of sick of the dude. But I will say the actual process of going to vote, no drama there, at least. Like, there weren't any big tussles. No one was being outspoken or anything. Granted, it was like 7 o'clock in the fucking morning. But it not until the evening came and you saw the results come in did it get kind of weird, to say the least. And yeah, I definitely have noticed people on both sides of being very, very ultra conservative or being very, very ultra liberal, being very, very vocal nonetheless about their pleasure or displeasure.
Vocal, violent as well. I've seen. Yeah. Well, not me, like, in person, but I just read all these news stories about, this Trump supporter was attacked, and then I read that, this minority person was attacked, and while the person was screaming, Trump and whatever, but the bubble was burst. Everyone thought Hillary kind of had it in the bag, and I get on stage and I tell people that it was kind of like watching the game footage of the team that is, like, celebrating way too early. And then you just see that bench warmer make that miracle half-court shot in the last, 2 seconds. And then everyone's just like, oh, no. And the buzzer goes off, and it just goes right in to the basket. And everyone's just like, oh, my gosh. Like, that's literally what it was like around here. Like, it was so deflated. Like women were crying on the train. Men were trying to hold it in. It was just a total... You would have thought that another 9/11 happened to some people. And some people did act like that. And it was just... It was amazing to see, like, how dedicated these people were. Like, I thought that the way some of these people acted, I thought that, like, their lives depended on who their candidate was. It was just a mess. You really should have been. I don't know what the reaction was in Jersey, but it was definitely emotional for some people, to say the least, here.
Well, the thing is, I haven't really gone out to the walking around the neighborhoods or stuff, or walking around the bars and taverns since the election. You got to stay in right now.
Yeah, you got to stay in.
Yeah, but I will say it's made for some interesting work talk at times. That's about it.
Oh yeah, no, it's going to be the new how about this weather. It's going to be so how about this Trump presidency. That's what it's going to turn into.
Meanwhile, I'm the guy over here being like, hey, did anyone watch Westworld last night or something?
Oh, yeah, no one wants to. Actually, everyone's kind of returned to normal. For about 2 or 3 days, whenever I was working on jokes, it was really hard to work on non-election material.
Right.
Because everyone just kind of wanted to hear everyone's opinion about the election. And now it seems like a lot of people have just moved on, and now we're kind of back to crappy Tinder jokes again. So, that's always a good sign that we're returning to normal.
Well, as normal as it can get in the where, like you said, the meme is in charge pretty soon.
Oh God, yeah, the walking meme. I mean, for a week, I was just walking around, and it being kind of weird because I really didn't have a stake in it. But like I said, there were some people who, that did vote Hillary, and that were completely fine. Don't think that like in New York that everyone was just a crying, sobbing, violent mess here. Like some people did vote for Hillary, and they were just like mildly disappointed. But then there were others who like their world was just torn asunder. It was, it's the most surreal thing I've ever seen. People like this dedicated to just an election. Like I was down south whenever Obama got elected, and I thought that was pretty bad because, I mean, that's obviously a red state.
Right.
And people were kind of losing their minds down there. But yeah, New York definitely showed them up on that end. So got to get hats off to them for the hysterics.
And I guess the one thing that's kind of, it keeps me coming back to the stories is that every once in a while I'll read an article or I'll hear on, say, WNYC or NPR or something that, okay, this transition, it's kind of normalizing a little bit, Oh, by the way, Bannon. And I'll be like, here we go. It's like that's the thing that I am not understanding. Like, he's going to get Bannon, who is like a rumored racist, and then he's going to get Peter Thiel, who is a open homosexual. So I'm wondering if he's trying to like recruit for a very diverse cabin or a really juicy episode of Jerry Springer. Like, I really can't tell like which he's trying to do. It's gonna be the most awkward team building exercises at Camp David.
And then Ben Carson was like, "I'm not fit to be in the cabinet." It's like, you tried to run for president. Like, you didn't think like that's the most powerful position not in America, in the world, and you now feel unfit to be in a cabinet. Like, you're the dumbest, smartest person I've ever met. Like, how were you ever like an accomplished surgeon? I really, that guy needs his head checked. It's crazy.
Yeah, his painting of him and Jesus said, "Don't do it," or something.
It really it looks like Kenny Loggins, that painting. When I saw it, I just thought he was a big Footloose fan and just loved the soundtrack. But because that Jesus looks a ton. Like, I thought it was like a cross, like, and that doesn't even look like him in the photo. It looks like, which is the one with the handlebar? Like, it looks like a domesticated Lionel Richie in the thing. Like, that's what it doesn't even look like him. Like, whoever, it literally looks like one of those Times Square caricature photos. That's what it looks like to me. Like, just something that you would just pick up at a sidewalk art sale, not something that you would like pay someone to commission. Or
the sad revelation one of these days that he's like, okay, I admit I painted it. It was a birthday present to myself.
I would be like, okay, like, that makes complete sense. Like, that, it's better. Like, oh my gosh, like, I want a painting of Jesus. Okay, great, let me get started. No, hold on. I want to be sitting in a chair with Jesus's hand over my shoulder, like we're taking a family portrait at Sears. Like, that's what I want. This whole election, it really, like, it seems like every election kind of got a little bit crazier, but not to where it got out of hand. Like, definitely, like, I don't know, this puts it all to shame. Like, the only elections I was able to vote for are the two Obama ones and then this one, and those seem extremely mild compared to this. Like, I thought, everything with Romney and that election was just crazy, but this is the one that was just bananas. Like, you really, even with a room full of writers, you couldn't think up half of the stuff that happened on the campaign trail, in my opinion. I don't know what your opinion is, but
I'm very much on the same page when it's basically saying along the lines of Simpsons called it, let's face it, and you were talking about the room full of writers. It does very much feel like the last year, or a year and a half at least, since, July of 2015 when he announced his candidacy, or announced he was running. It has felt very surreal, as if we have been put through something of a satire filter.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, I really don't think it'll hit, because it's calming down right now just because, he hasn't actually taken office yet. But yeah, when January rolls around and he starts the presidency, then you can guarantee that it's going to start coming, like, people are going to start talking about it again, and things are going to ramp up again.
You might have to be building up more material for the clubs.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, like this, it hasn't been like overflowing. I will say it's given me about like maybe 2 or 3 new jokes, which is actually pretty good for just one subject. Like usually I can write maybe a joke or two for something like that, but I think there's definitely more where that came from. I really don't get why people are still so mad about it, but I don't know. That's why I did that little skit thing. I don't know if you even saw it about like the social media
After
reaction. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. I haven't seen the extended cut. I think I saw you post recently, but I haven't seen that. I saw the first one you put up that was like 30 seconds or so.
Oh yeah, no, that's it. That I didn't like, I actually should have made that about Vine length. Like if I went back and kind of like re-edited it, then I should have done that. Like actually, what I did was that I did put it up on Vine, and I just watched it, and I was like, you know what, this actually works a little bit better at Vine length, like 6 or 7 seconds instead of like 23 or so seconds. And so like whenever so that's why there's like 2 versions on my YouTube channel. Like there's the little 7-8 second version, and then there's the long version. So yeah, you saw the ultimate edition, I'll say. The thing was that I was thinking about doing like this rant thing where I was just ranting about how crazy everyone was getting, and then that idea just popped in my head of just like what it was. Like it was literally like almost every single day, not so much now, but like every single day after the election, it was almost like watching a riot. Like every day on social media was like the purge, like people just arguing with each other, people putting up crazy articles that didn't really even have facts to them, that they were from satire websites, and like that weren't the Onion, but they seemed real, even though if you like went to their about section, they would tell you it's a satire page. And it was literally just like this crazy, like I said, it's just one of the craziest things. But yeah, that's pretty much where that little sketch was inspired from, and why I'm definitely going more towards Instagram than YouTube now. I mean, not YouTube, Vine.
Vine.
So why did you give up on Vine? Or like when was it sort of like a gradual process, or was it one day you were just like, I'm done with this?
I haven't really given up, because I did just post kind of a reaction to Vines dying on there, and that was about 2 weeks ago, and I forgot completely. It's just, for me, it was just really hard to keep up with it, given that my work schedule, like you said, adulting got busy, so it's kind of hard to kind of stay consistent with that. Somehow I'm able to stay more consistent with YouTube videos that require a lot more time to write or edit or, upload and so forth. But for some reason, putting up a 6-second video just didn't register to me. That, and like you said, there was something about a lot of the people, like I knew you hadn't been posting quite as much since then. So I'm like, a lot of the people that I like to follow on here aren't really here anymore, or aren't really much of a presence anymore in my feed. So what's the point, really, of checking in? Yeah, I just kind of dropped out of it.
Yeah, that's kind of what, in a way, that was pretty much my exact story. Like when I first got to New York, and I started doing the hashtags and started gaining more and more followers. I sometimes think to myself, like, what if I did stick with it? Like, what sort of Vine level would I have been at? I mean, it would have been a long shot to, get to, I don't even know, like well, it would have never happened, like a Nash Greer sort of level, but I don't, have a little sister to exploit like he did. But I pretty much, what happened to me was that I got my first full-time, because I was doing a bunch of little part-time jobs here and there, but I was still able to come home at the end of the day and, or in the afternoon and just like look at Vine and then get on Vine and do Vines. And then when I got like my first full-time job, that's when it slowly started to drift away, because I would also have to do stand-up on top of that. So by the time that all happened, I just realized that, I really don't have time for this. And like you said, like less and less people that I knew were starting to post. And then when I got back, I think the first time I got back on was about midway through 2015. And that's when I definitely realized that that Vine was in for a hurting, because like barely anyone was posting, and it was kind of becoming to a stand. Like you would see the loops that would get to like 1 million or something like that, and it had been posted like within the day, but this was like getting to 1 million, but it had been like 5 days since I kind of saw like the slowdown coming from pretty much since midway through 2015, if all that makes any sense. Sometimes I feel like I start on something and then I just ramble and then I just try to stick the landing at the end.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. So landing officially stuck on there. For me, it was very much along the lines of another thing too, was that I found a new venue in podcasting, in these videos essentially, where I didn't want to always have to incorporate a hashtag into what I was saying in order for people to see what I was doing. I just more or less want to say whatever I want to say, explore what I wanted to explore without having to feed into a trend. Even on YouTube, though, that's still the thing, though, is you got to kind of follow the trends in order to stay relevant to your followers or to whoever's watching.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Yeah. So, like, so is that what your passion is is podcasting than Vine or anything? Or do you still kind of have a soft spot for Vine still?
I mean, if an idea sprouts up to me before they completely just lock us out and forever archive all the videos on there, I might put it up there just for the sake of doing it, like a random 6-second thought or impression, because I used to do just a lot of like bad impressions essentially on there, and I do that anyways on this channel already. So I try to do some impressions here and there, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But no, I feel like a little bit better. I feel like Instagram is a tiny bit more accessible than Vine, I feel like the problem that Vine didn't do, and I really feel like once it happened that Vine should have reacted quicker, but whenever Instagram came out with their 15-second video, that's when I really knew that, like either Vine needs to do something about this or they're going to get left in the dust, and they just still kept it at 6 or 7 seconds, and that's, I think, pretty much what did them in, because now Instagram, you can make minute-long videos, and you can put up GIFs, and they have sort of little side layout apps and things like that to bring in more revenue, and, that Vine just still stayed the same. And then when they finally changed, it was just too little too late. Like, I remember when I got back on there in mid-2015, they were like, hey, here's what's changed, and it wasn't that much, but I was just like, why did you do this now instead of like a year ago when you guys still had a chance? So yeah, and especially when the terrain, it was just the two of them, but now you have other things, like you do have Snapchat came into the scene as well, which I feel is demanding even a shorter attention span.
Oh yeah, but that's even more pointless. At least people try to be somewhat funny on Vine and sometimes Instagram. I feel like with Snapchat, it's just some of the most boring drivel that I've seen, like people just taking photos of their of the concerts that they go to, which aren't even that good, and then the food that they ate, and just some of the most boring things. And I sometimes am like, I could be doing something of value with my time instead of just sitting here clicking on different Snapchat videos. But I kind of fall into that little pitfall. I just kind of trip and fall, and I'm like, oh, okay, look, another boring cat video that you did of your cat. Like, you need to get a job, please.
Well, you mentioned kind of like doing more relevant things with your time in a way. I wanted to ask you, how much would you say either of your day or week perhaps goes into crafting either jokes or goes into crafting material for Instagram or for a video?
I think my forte is definitely stand-up. I do open mics or shows 4 out of 7 days a week. So 4 out of the 7, and the 3 are either spent, writing, resting, or doing shows if they fall on those days. But I would say a good amount of time is spent doing kind of crafting things. And some of my friends, that they can, like, what they do is they'll sit down on a Sunday or like some random day that they have to themselves, and they'll try to like pull jokes out of thin air. And I have just never been able to do that. Like, I've never been able to just pull jokes out of my ass and do anything like that. But the thing that my writing method is that what I mainly do is just anything that inspires me. Like, obviously, like, this election was happening, and so I was like, okay, we definitely need to write something for this, and so I'll go out of my way to like write it down on my phone, and I'll write it down even on a piece of paper or like on a Word document if I can't get to my phone in time. But yeah, it's just mainly kind of of the world that surrounds me. Like if something funny happens, like in conversation, I'll try to write it down as soon as I can. Like sometimes my friends do get annoyed because like there will be conversations sometimes where like within a 20-minute conversation, like I'll find something like really funny and there will be like 4 things I try to write down. And by the 4th time, they're just like, can we just have like a normal conversation with you not pulling out your phone and thinking that something's like funny for you to do in a bit later? But I mean, this is what I want to do and I'm serious about it. So, and then to get to your question about YouTube, that's the thing that I've kind of been slacking off on. I will say that there are a couple of videos that I meant to release earlier this year. Like I did a Q&A thing with wrestling fans outside of SummerSlam this year, because this year's SummerSlam was at the Barclays Center, and I was beginning to edit it, and then just like different things came up and I wasn't able to upload it when I wanted to. So I'm going to try to edit, and I'll try to plug this at the end of the show. I'm going to try to get it done and edited by this weekend so it can be up in time for the Survivor Series, which is a big pay-per-view for WWE.
Are there any preferred venues or anything like that that you frequent during this week and so forth that you enjoy coming back to? Because I used to frequent quite a few open mics as a songwriter, and there would be a combination of some stand-up mixed in with the singer-songwriters. So I was just wondering.
Yeah,
in the city.
For open mics, it's either the comic. There's an open mic called Comics on Comics because it takes place at a comic book shop. But that's at Carmine Street Comics on Sundays, and then there's a good mic that my friend Joe DeSantis hosts at Otto's. Otto's Shrunken Head. It's in the Carmine one, that's in the West Village, and then the one that the other guy hosts at Otto's, that's in the East Village. But both of those I really like. And for shows, I gotta give it up for clubs. Like clubs are just great because the audience is ready to laugh whenever you go in. So my 2 favorite places for that is either New York Comedy Club or Caroline's, like whenever I get put on a show there.
Yeah, Caroline's is a fun place to be an audience member. Definitely, I've been to Caroline's once. I actually used to live across the street from Otto's Shrunken Head.
Oh, well, I know that apartment complex. I would sometimes hang out there if I had some time to kill before the mic. So yeah, pretty peaceful apartment place. Now, what made you, if you don't mind me asking, move back to Jersey?
Well, work. There was none in New York City, and they were offering a pretty good position out here. So instead of just doing the constant commute, I would just much rather prefer to be out here.
Well, you prefer to be out in New Jersey?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind visiting New York, and I appreciate the time I had there. Like I said, I was there from about 2008 to 2011. But, I've kind of found my niche out here. Every once in a while, I'll stop back in and try to maybe do some music. Either, like you said, I used to do a show or 2 over at Otto's. Now you've kind of inadvertently inspired me to be like, you know what, I should come back to the city more often, because I'd go to places in Midtown. I think you
should, and I mean, like, it's kind of a straight shot, you kind of, I don't know how far you live from the actual city, but you kind of, you take the PATH train and then to 14th Street, then you get on the L train, and yeah, you know how to get to Otto's, but I myself right now, I can't imagine living anywhere else. Like, I go home from time to time, and within about 2 or 3 days, I just get really restless just with how quiet and simple things are, and I just gotta, I gotta come back to the city and kind of do the things that I want to do. I don't know if you ever felt that way, but I definitely do whenever I go back home.
When I was in the city, I definitely there was a drive behind a lot of what I was doing when I was there that really didn't let up, and I was appreciative of that, actually. Like, I was always on the move, whether it was with work-related stuff or music stuff, or just going around to all the different venues. I was constantly kind of active, so I appreciated that about the city.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I really like about the city as well, is that there's just sort of this lively vibe that's with it, and it's, I don't know, it's indescribable. Like, to people that aren't doing, that are listening to this, and you're kind of like in a small town doing open mics, like, the only way that you'll actually get somewhere is if you do move to either a big city or a bigger city. Like, some people, like, if you're a musician, then you may not want to move to LA, but someplace like Nashville, or someplace that has a music scene but it's not overly saturated. And I kind of feel like that New York's kind of saturated, but in a way I kind of feel like that it's also a place that you have to sort of create your own niche. And if you create that niche, then probably get at least somewhere. I don't know if that sounds crazy, but that's just sort of my thinking philosophy right now.
No, I understand that aspect of it too, is that it's so hard in such a hub of creativity, and everyone's trying to be like, I have the distinct voice. No, I have the distinct voice, to really carve out your own identity for it and be able to say like, well, here's my voice. I'm just willing to throw that into the hat.
Oh yeah. It definitely, like, whenever I first got up here, like pretty much the first year that I was here, it felt like I was almost starting stand up over again. Like I felt like that most of the jokes that I would do for sets down south whenever I lived there, that I had to scrap half of those jokes, and there's only about maybe 2 or 3 jokes that I still kept from down south that I'm still doing today. Most everything else is pretty much material that I've done here, so it's kind of rewarding to know that the majority, like pretty much about 90% of the material I do on stage is stuff that I did like I came up with in New York, and like never really down south. But that's something that I'll also kind of tell people, like, if you're going to move to a bigger area, it's going to feel like that you're starting over again, and you shouldn't really be scared off about that. It's kind of like a transition period, like we were talking about earlier with Trump. It's just a transition period. Trump's probably scared right now, that he's transitioning, his cabinet and everything. But yeah, like it's just a transition period. And, now I've kind of righted myself and figuring out the way in the comedy scene and trying to get everything done with YouTube. But the distractions of the city do kind of get to you sometimes. I don't know what kind of temptations are out there in New Jersey, but sometimes you can kind of lose yourself in just the city of New York.
The temptations out here consist of, oh, hey, DVDs are half price off here. I'm going to drive out to my local FYE and see if I can pick up some cheap B movies.
Those still exist?
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, the FYE is still going strong out here.
Man, wow. I am certainly surprised. I guess, that everyone's so wanting everything simple here that we're all doing Netflix and stuff. What about, do you guys have Walmarts in your neck of New Jersey?
Yeah, there's a Walmart here or there, definitely. I'm 2 miles away from one for sure. But I don't know, I'm always about like just getting lost on purpose. I have my car out here, so I purposefully just take roads I've never been down before. I'm always finding some new little facet of the area I've never explored before, and sure, that might be a good way to end up mugged or shot, but
yeah, I was about to say, well, it's not Detroit you're living in, so, I'm not advising against it. But, like, you saying that definitely reminded me of what I used to do when I would live down south. Because, yeah, like, there would be a lot of times where I would just feel restless, and I would just, like, kind of go down some road that I'd never been down before, or some alternate route to take me to a certain place, and just out of boredom and kind of, out of curiosity. I totally get it, but in a way, I do miss the small town, quaint life of, the one thing I do miss about living in the city is that you can get directly to where you want to. You don't have to take a subway and, wait 5 or 10 stops or hop off the train and have to get onto another one, and you fall asleep on the train, you miss your stop. Like whenever I'm down south and I drive somewhere, I'm always like, it takes me a couple of driving times to like get used to the fact that like I got to my destination in under 5 or 10 minutes,
Yeah, I don't know if it's really so much that or the idea of the familiarity can get very complacent at times, I want to say. So the challenge to always kind of purposefully distract or challenge yourself to be like, figure a way out of this. Now I'm basically doing the automotive version of what I did in New York City when I lived there, which was I would purposefully just find myself walking down 8th Avenue, even as far down as I could go, and then just working my way back up if I had, the time to do it and nothing else pressing.
Oh yeah, no. I remember the first few weeks that I lived here, I would stay up till like 4 a.m. like before I even tried to start getting a job, and I would just walk around everywhere I would go and just like and pretty much until the sun came up, just because I was so fascinated by the city. And now I don't even do that. Like on a night like this, if like one of my friends texted me like at around 10 and was like, hey, we're going to this place, I'm like, well, good luck, because I'm not getting out of my fucking apartment, because like I gotta get, like I'm pretty much just a working drone again. Like, I gotta get up for work, and I don't have time like that. But if you were talking with me and I just got to New York, then yeah, I would be out with you tonight. But now I don't really have that much time to get out and do the exploring like I did when I first got here. I felt like I got most of my New York exploring out of me when I first got to the city. Every once in a while, I'll take Metro North or something like that and go up either to go out to Long Island or someplace either in Connecticut or up the Hudson Valley. But that's about as much exploring as I do anymore.
Well, you just got to provide yourself whatever opportunity you can whenever you can. But yeah, we're grown-ups, kids. I
mean, adult life is very fun at the same time too. Like you said, you can get into your car and drive any which way you want to, and you do get to you pretty much get to be your own person. The problem is, when the responsibilities start stacking up, you become a husband and then you become kids. Like, that's one of the reasons that I moved up here was to get away from my wife and to get away from my kids. No, but really it was one of my friends told me that I either needed to move up here now or I needed to either I was going to move up here now or I was going to stay in Hattiesburg. That's the city I lived in Mississippi. And that was kind of some wise words, because he said, yeah, because things will start stacking up. If you stay here long enough, you'll probably meet someone, get married, and then you'll have kids, and then it's just going to be near impossible to even accomplish your goals. So ever since then, I'm glad that I made the decision to move up here.
Well, and I hope it continues to kind of be fruitful for you on several endeavors, be that, just getting through the day-to-days or being able to flourish and branch out with the comedy, especially since that is very much the passion, where the passion lies.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Actually, if you want, you can plug your material right now, or plug your where people can get a hold of you or get a glimpse into the wisdom and stylings of Mercer Morrison, if you will.
Well, I do want to preface that, yeah, I probably wasn't that funny on this in this discussion, but that's just because it's the end of the week and I'm tired and I'm worn out. But if you want to just kind of find my material and stuff, you can you can find me on Instagram. It's at Mercer Morrison. Just use the asterisk symbol, and my full name, MERCERMORRISON. I mean, you could try to friend request me on Facebook, although if we don't have any mutual friends, then you won't be able to friend me. But I do suggest either you start following me, and also Twitter has the exact same handle, at Mercer Morrison. And anyone in the New York area, I have a show on Tuesday. I think it's at 7 p.m. at the Lantern, which is in Greenwich Village. So that should be a really fun show. And I usually post up my shows. Sometimes I do it on Instagram. Most of the time I do it on Facebook. And if you want to find me in either of those places, then by all means do. I need a fan base, so help a brother out.
Well worth the time. The material is premium. You've got samples of your stand-up actually on some of your sites and so forth, so to be able to kind of...
Oh, yeah. And another thing I want to plug, guys, come out to, any show that I'm on, because I'm always looking to try and film another set to do, because it's been a couple of years since I had put up a full set of my material, and I'm wanting to do a new one just to kind of keep things fresh and new, and to kind of show people that I'm doing different and new material. So yeah, definitely come out to shows and then show your support, for not just for me, but for all the comedians on the show as well.
Oh, definitely. It's you got to get out there and support good comedy. Especially with the times ahead, we're all going to need a lot of really biting comedy, I feel, in the next couple of years. So
I don't think it'll be that bad. But then again, I mean, we all thought Hillary was going to win this election, so what do we know?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, either way, whether the country's going to be running smooth and efficiently, or it's going to be the bumpiest road ever, we're gonna have stuff to laugh about, because, like you said, the living meme is going to be running things. So.
Oh, yeah.
Either way, it's going to be hilarious.
It's going to be pretty intense. I thought Pepe the Frog was going to be his vice president for a second, but I guess that's, he chose Mike Pence, a much more, a tiny bit more serious than Pepe the Frog, but what do I know anyway? But Yeah, I don't think it'll be that bad. And like I said, I didn't have any stake in it. I kind of thought we were screwed either way. So I really kind of had different emotions. I was just surprised like everyone else.
Well, I want to kind of wrap things up with just one last question for you to think about. Since we first kind of got in touch kind of through Vine, and that was kind of a focus for us in this discussion a little bit, was that particular outlet. I want you to take some time, if you can remember as far back as you can, if there was a hashtag that you created on Vine that you were very proud of, or that you felt was like, you know what, this is of substance and people are actually vibing to this somewhat. If there was a particular hashtag you started that you felt had legs. So take some time to think about that. It wasn't
a hashtag, but I actually think about this Vine vid because it literally was just something I put up randomly, and I didn't think it would get as big as it did. And I mean, it didn't get huge or anything, but it got actually quite notable. But it was an Adam Newman hashtag, and he did something having to do with Santa Claus or something like that. And I put like, it was something, the whole skit was about the person. Like, it was a character about the person who thought he wandered into the church of Santa. And, I mean, obviously he's like dyslexic, or the dyslexic guy who thought he walked into the church of Santa. And I go, yes, is Santa here? And then, like, in my apartment, all my lights shut off. And then, like, this satanic choir starts playing. And then I, like, try to leave as soon as possible. I don't know if you remember that, but that's probably one of my more proud Vine moments.
This is kind of stirring a memory for me. I remember my thought exactly, because at that point I had just seen kind of your videos where you were kind of just giving a quick 6-second statement that, you know, had like a funny like button on the end of it. And I remember thinking with this video especially, it's like, this is one of the first videos he's done where, oh my gosh, there's like a production here. I'm not saying, you know, it felt almost like, wow, he turned out a lot of effort.
Wow, you can't believe he's trying. I need to try and grab that Vine and try to re-upload it on my YouTube channel, because I'm actually proud of that Vine. And it's definitely one of the more Vines that I'm proud of. And I just remember, like, a few months later, like, one of my friends commented on it again. It was like, I watch this Vine from time to time, and it's still funny. So that's definitely I forget the hashtag, but that's definitely like a Vine moment that I'm just very proud of.
Yeah, sure, definitely. You should save it, archive it for yourself, even though I'm sure those videos, they're going to exist in some way, shape, or form on the internet.
Oh yeah, no, they said that they would shut down like you uploading new vids, but they wouldn't. They would still archive all the video. Like, it would pretty much be almost like a watchable library.
I'm just, because I'm trying to think. Like, I've never really gotten the numbers that you or what's her name, Leia Blizz or Big Dog or a bunch of those people got, but because I'm pretty sure half the accounts that are subscribed to me are just bots. But one hashtag I remember I got a response from you on one time, and another Viner who was pretty well followed, but it was a hashtag of like movie announcer voice, I think.
Yeah.
This is like, I would just narrate over movie trailers, and it would be the movie announcers trying to make up with his girlfriend or his ex-girlfriend while he was talking about the movie. So it's like, I forget, Expendables 3 coming soon, Stephanie, I wish you would call me, or something like that.
Oh yeah, now that you said that, I definitely remember that one.
Because I remember you did your own, I think, of like an honest movie, before honest movie trailers were a regular thing. Like, we did the honest movie trailers.
I know, they stole the idea from us. We need some residuals.
Nah, they got a more epic voice than I do, but we might have a shot. Who knows?
Both of us combined, for that matter.
There we go. Well, I thank you for this opportunity to kind of, again, stretch my legs into another area, and you're definitely welcome back to, if you have any thoughts you'd want to share and you need a forum, another forum to kind of let those thoughts be heard, more than welcome to come back here, man.
Oh yeah, no, thanks so much for having me. I mean, it's no problem. I was just kind of having a little low-key Thursday night, so yeah, it was no problem for me to come on the show, and thanks for having me again.
Thank you so much. And once again, Mercer Morrison, go check out his stuff, the Instagram, the Twitter, the YouTube, and all of it. I'll put the links down below in the description. And once more, check out some more videos over here at McGTV. You've been listening to McChats. on youtube.com/MikeMcGTV. Follow me as well on Twitter @MikeMcGTV. Have a good night.